What is going on, YouTube? It is Levon back at you guys with another video. And today we're going to be talking about my A.I.T experience in the U.S. Army at Fort Jackson. Fort Jackson is a military installation. And we're also going to be talking about my experience thus far at Fort Riley. Okay? So, right after basic training, I'll say about 2 or 3 days, I would say about 2 or 3 days after I graduated, my very last day at basic training, me and the individuals that was in my bay, the video previously when I talked about my basic training experience, y'all can go look at that video. I talked about being in a bay in that video. But anyway, when I was in my bay, the bay that I was in, right, the individuals that was with me in that bay, we had to clean up that bay, bring all our belongings and bags downstairs, and they would let us take like a 1 hour, 2 hour nap, right? Before we go ahead and get shipped off to A.I.T. And it was a pretty long process as far as, getting settled into A.I.T. and all this stuff. It was actually pretty long. So at the end of basic, like that last day, right? We clean up the barracks, right? Brought our belongings downstairs, cleaned out our lockers and these little drawers that we had on the side of our bunk. We cleaned that out as well. We brought our belongings downstairs, go back upstairs, take like a 2 hour nap or something. We got up like at 1:30 a.m. in the morning, right? 1:30 a.m. in the morning, called us up. We went downstairs. Wherever whatever A.I.T. we was getting shipped off to, we would go in a specific area within the CTA where our belongings was placed at with our belongings, and we would just sit there and wait. So you had individuals going to Fort Greg Adams. You had individuals going to Fort Moore, right? I was going to Fort Jackson, so I pretty much stayed at Fort Jackson, because that's where my A.I.T. was, right? So I put my stuff on a bus, and it was like a 3 to 10 minute drive there. So it's a 3 to 10 minute drive there, right? They have us, everybody who's shipped there, right? They would place our bags, like our green duffel bags that the Army issued us. They would take it off the back of what they call the fruiton, some shit like that. The fruiton, they would take it, they would place it right behind. They didn't call it the CTA at A.I.T. I forgot what they called it, but they have our bags like lined up, right? Facing, like, I'm facing you guys with the phone in my hand, so the bag will be facing backwards, and they'll have our name tag, right? So we will go to our duffel bags. You see the one with your name on it, with the name tag. You take your duffel bag, then you will go back to where they told you to form up at. And so we're formed up there. The drill sergeants, etc., tell us to dump our bags out, right? Anything that's considered contraband, obviously you gotta turn that in to say they were basic. So we dump our bags out because they want to make sure that we had the items that they issued us at basic training. So we did that there at A.I.T. After we finished doing that, we put our stuff away. While we was doing that, we ended up getting smoked. So smoked is pretty much you being demanded to do extra PT, excessive PT, because you did something you weren't supposed to be doing. That's pretty much what getting smoked is. You being demanded in an aggressive manner to do excessive PT because you wasn't doing what you were supposed to be doing. So, yeah, that is how that went. After that, shit, what did we do after that? So we was out there all day. Like I said, we got up at 1:30 a.m. in the morning, right? We sat on our bags. So when we left, when me and whoever from my platoon in basic, let me rephrase that. So whoever with me and my platoon at basic was going to A.I.T. Fort Jackson, we was waiting. We was literally waiting on our duffel bags, sitting on our duffel bags, waiting for our names to be called. Once they call our names, you get your duffel bags, load it up on this little truck that they have, and you make sure you have your packet with you. You give them your packet before you go on the bus, right? They take that, you go on the bus, and boom, you off to A.I.T. But it kind of took a long time for that because they had to call a lot of people and stuff. So you had to wait until your name. You had to wait till everybody's name get called on and stuff like that before you just drive off. So we complete that. We make our way to A.I.T. We dump our stuff out, make sure we have all the items that we was issued while in basic. After that, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know for a fact we definitely went to the defect that day for breakfast, right? So one thing that I noticed about A.I.T., right, is that when communicating with the drill sergeant, they say something, they say whoop. I'm not sure what the hell whoop is, right? That's because in basic training, you say yes, drill sergeant, no, drill sergeant, right? Not whoop. Or you would say, this is the way, or always forward, right? Some shit like that. But I noticed that the drill sergeants, after they finish saying something, they would say whoop. I'm like, what the hell is whoop? Like, what are you talking about, whoop? Like, that's not even a word. What the fuck are you talking about? Because in basic training, the drill sergeants wouldn't tolerate that. Like, in basic training, if the drill sergeant told you to do something and you respond to him by saying whoop, you're done for it. Like, you're cooked. You're cooked, literally. But I guess in A.I.T. they do things a little different. And they would say this shit called Army Pride. I don't know what the hell that's about, but anyways. So yeah, that's what it was like when I first arrived to A.I.T. That's what the experience was like when I first arrived to A.I.T., right? That first day, this video is gonna be kind of brief, to be honest. It's gonna be kind of brief. So that first day, we get to A.I.T. We did this weird thing where before we walk into the DFAC, the person ahead of the line, he would turn, he would yell stand on. Everybody else would yell on business, right? That's probably one of the most retarded, like, man, I don't understand what was the point of that. Like, honestly, I really do not understand what was the point of that. To be honest with you, I really do not understand what was the point of that. Let's just walk in a DFAC, eat our food, and do whatever the hell we got to do after. You understand what I'm saying? I personally disagree with the whole scream and stand on business situation. That negative. That got to get up out of there. So I would say about a week or two into A.I.T., I was hired to be squad leader. So I was pretty much in charge of one of the 4 columns in my formation. And so we had Alpha, right? So it was 2 different formations, right? You had Alpha on one side and you had Bravo on one side. So Alpha team, Alpha squad, or Bravo team, Bravo squad. So the third out of 4 columns in the formation that I was in, right? I was in charge of the third one. So I had to make sure that everybody was there on time. If not, I had to make a list of who wasn't there on time and give it to the PG or APG. And they would tell the drill sergeant, or whatever the case may be. So as a squad leader, you can't be late. You know, you got to set the example. You got to be there on time. So, yeah. Honestly, my experience as a squad leader, I don't really think much of it. To be honest with you, it wasn't a stressful job at all. You have people who listen. You have people who didn't listen, right? You have people who follow instructions, who did what they were supposed to do. You have people who didn't follow instruction. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you're not listening to your own squad leader. You're hurting yourself. You're not hurting the squad leader. You're hurting yourself. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's on you. Either you listen, follow some instruction, or shit, you screw yourself over. That's on you, right? So being a squad leader was good and all. Honestly, I don't want to be a squad leader. I didn't care to be in a leadership position. I didn't really care to. It's not something that I wanted or I wanted to be selected to. I didn't volunteer to do it, honestly. So, yeah, you know. But yeah, I got selected as squad leader. Did that, and yeah. So my A.I.T experience, I would say, was very enjoyable. Honestly, I would say that I enjoyed myself. I had a lot of fun. I met new people. I met real good quality people. To be honest, with you, I met some good quality people in A.I.T. And in A.I.T, you're allowed to go on off post pass, like the 6 or 7 week. You're allowed to go on off post pass. And prior to that, when you get to gold phase, you can go. You do what they call on post pass, so you can pretty much go to a multitude of places on Fort Jackson military installation. When you in black phase, you can only go to the gym and the Pizza Hut that was nearby. That's about it. So occasionally I would go to Pizza Hut and I would go to the gym because that's all you was allowed to do. So I just did that. But honestly, overall, my A.I.T experience was very enjoyable. All right, I definitely learned some things that I didn't learn in basic. Honestly, I would say, hmm, I would say A.I.T was more enjoyable. One, because I didn't the type of people I met in A.I.T I didn't meet in basic. The people that I met in A.I.T and that I was around in A.I.T, it was it was more of a healthier environment in A.I.T. All right, the individuals were more mentally stable. They had good character. They had good behavior. The way they conducted themselves and the way they behaved themselves, I absolutely utterly approved it. Basic training for the most part, you had a lot of mentally unstable individuals, especially grown adults, like mentally unstable, didn't have their head on the good shoulders, didn't show up to formation on time, was always getting in trouble. And these are grown adults. These are grown adults not showing up, not grown adults, like over 21. You understand what I'm saying? Over 21, married, got kids, and just didn't have didn't have their life together, didn't have their life in order. A.I.T on the other hand, you had individuals who were about I would say about 19 to my age. I'm 21 now. So individuals like 19, 20, 21, get head on their shoulders. Discipline. Showed up to formation on time. Wasn't late. Did what they're supposed to do. Listen to their squad leader. When you had individuals was listening to their squad leader, giving their squad leader attitude, right? So yeah, but you know, as a man, it's none of my business how an individual wants to go about carry themselves or how they feel about you based upon how you conduct yourself, how you behave yourself as a man. It's none of my business. But at the end of the day, if you was instructed to do something, especially in the military, if you was instructed to do something by your drill sergeant or authority, get that shit done. Get that shit done. No excuses. Get that shit done. All right. Towards the end of the A.I.T, we did off post pass. That was cool. Went out to different places, went out to different restaurants. Honestly, South Carolina Fort Jackson is dry. There's not real. South Carolina Fort Jackson is dry. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not. Economically, it's not all that. I'm gonna be honest. Graduated A.I.T. Now we're here at Fort Riley, Kansas, where my duty station is at. My impression on Kansas is not really a good impression because there's not really too much to do out here, to be honest with you. This is my first time being in the Midwest, right? I'm not really too impressed with Kansas, okay? It's cold as hell out here. There's not really much to do in Kansas. However, downtown Kansas City, there's a lot to do. I went out there about a few weeks ago. There's a lot to do in downtown Kansas City, but as far as Kansas itself, there's really not much to do in Kansas. But downtown Kansas City, there's a lot to do. As far as how are things at my unit, things are pretty chill at my unit. I work as a 42 Alpha Human Resource Specialist, so my job is not really intense. My job is to take care of the soldiers' well-being and welfare. That's about it. It could be worse, can't complain about that. With that being said, that concludes this video. That is my experience thus far in the U.S. Army. Moving forward, will I make videos about what my experience is like in the U.S. Army? Probably not. I came in the Army first and foremost to utilize that VA loan for real estate and to gain experience in a career that would translate well on the civilian side. Honestly, that's why I came in the U.S. Army in the first place. But moving forward, you guys will not hear me really talk so much about my experience in the U.S. Army. All right, but more content will be on the way real soon. I'll be talking a lot more about boxing on this channel and self-improvement and evolving your mind and evolving yourself, and why it is important to focus on yourself as a man, because men don't worry about other men. We focus on evolving ourselves, evolving our mind, and elevating to the next level each and every day. We don't got time to be worrying about what other clowns out here is doing, this, that, and the third, because they ain't none of our business. A man don't worry about what other men are doing. As a man, it's none of my business what somebody else think about me either, all right? So moving forward, you guys are going to get to know a lot more about me. You guys are going to get to know a lot more about my character, how I conduct myself, what my mindset is like. All right, so with that being said, I see you guys in the next video. Hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment down below. I really don't care what the comment is, to be honest with you. But hey, leave a comment down below. If you want to subscribe, that's up to you. You understand what I'm saying? My life is great whether you guys subscribe or not. All right, with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video though.